Good morning, all. The County Board of County Commissioners Zoning and Comprehensive Plan meeting will convene. It's Wednesday, November 5th, 2025. It's after 9:30. If we could stand for the pledge, please. Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all. Let's start with our first case. Savannah Lake. Good morning.
Good morning, Commissioners. I'm Adam Mendez, Principal Planner with the Community Development Zoning Section. The first case before you is the Savannah Lakes MPD, case DCI 2024-00037. The project is situated just north of State Road 82 and west of Homestead Road South. Includes a total project acreage of 822 acres, of which the applicant retains control of 371 of those acres. The project is located primarily in the urban community and wetlands future land use map categories and is currently zoned mixed use plan development, MPD. The request is to amend the MPD to increase project density from 1477 to 2300. That's an increase of 823 dwelling units. The request, if approved, would also reduce general commercial floor area from 100,000 square feet to 30,000 square feet and eliminate 75 hotel rooms. The hearing examiner's recommendation for this case is approval with conditions, and there were 5 public participants of record. Staff and the applicant are available for any questions.
Any questions?
I have a couple questions. So it looks like, if we go back to the first slide that showed that one, it looks like that one looks like it's surrounded by completely residential, right?
That's correct. It's completely surrounded by residential, with the exception of heavy tree commercial on Homestead Road South.
Right.
That's a commercial node. And then you have the typical Lehigh Acres.
And all the other residential around it looks like it's all house to house, no conservation areas. Can you go back to the last slide you showed that showed the conservation areas? So all that area in the middle there is conservation green space then?
That's correct. So that is actually owned by the Lehigh Acres Municipal Improvement Service District, LAMPSID. It's not part of the MPD.
Okay. Is there any been concerns about water management of that property? And LAMPSID's been totally in agreement with this, correct?
Yeah, they've been fully involved with this. I think the applicant is working with LAMPSID.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
All right now.
I have 5 participants. Derek Felder? No. Andrew Capel? Oh, Derek. Didn't even see you, sorry. Good morning.
Derek Felder for the record. A lot of people are in Lehigh are against this project. I'm supporting it. It's unfortunate we're losing our commercial areas, that we have limited commercial areas, but it's what they want to do. So that kind of justifies the increase of the residential. We could have used the commercial, the hotel, and all that, but it is what it is. You mentioned the LAMPSID area in the middle there. That's actually an area where LAMPSID pumps water into that area, and it's great for rehydrating the aquifer in that area. They pump water in there from the canals and it drains down to the aquifer. There's a school being added right next door to this. There's a fire station being added right next to this. Hopefully there'll be a library added up by Homestead of Milwaukee. Hopefully this development will have to put the sidewalk in on the south side of Milwaukee. So yeah, good addition to the community.
Thank you. Andrew Capel? Is Andrew here? No. Marcia Stevens? Is Marcia here? No. Harry Usagiri? No. Okay. Those are my participants.
Oh, one more, Johanna. Yeah, Johanna Barona was the number 5 participant.
Yeah, no, okay. I don't have that on my list, but thank you, Brian.
Oh, sure.
Is he here?
No. Okay.
Okay. Those are 5 participants. Come up to the dais. Any other thoughts?
Mr. Chairman, I've looked at the hearing examiner's recommendation and the record that was presented to us, and I don't see any reason to overturn her recommendation, so I'll make approval of the hearing examiner's recommendation subject to the conditions and deviations.
Second.
I have a motion, and a second. Any other discussion? Seeing none, anyone opposed? Seeing none, motion carries unanimously. Next case, North Heber.
Good morning, Commissioners. Sharon Badamchian from the County Zoning. The request is to rezone quarter of an acre lot from residential single family to community facilities, plant development, to allow for an administrative office and essential services group 1 for LCEC. The future land use designation is Outer Islands. The property is zoned RS1 like most other lots in the area. The request is basically to have a building with the storage under it, and it's completely enclosed building, and to have equipment and whatever is needed in case of hurricane and disasters. They are requesting to have temporary housing for employees during disaster time, so employees can stay there overnight and take care of the electric system there. Hearing examiner heard this and recommended approval, and which basically similar to staff's recommendation of approval. They were 12 participants of records, 12 public participants for this case.
Thank you. Any questions? I'll go to public. This one's Lacey Farley. Scott Farley. Jonathan Flight. Darrell Fogarty. Richard Gross. Richard. Alex Murphy. Mark Muller. Duncan Rosen. Casey Stilson. Taylor West. David Wilcox. Desiree Wilson. Okay, those are the participants of record. Bring it back up to the dais.
I'll move the item.
Second.
Seconded.
Oh, go ahead.
Motion is second. Any discussion? Anyone opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Number 3.
Commissioners, again, for the record, Adam Mendez, Community Development Zoning Section. The next case before you is the Sanibel Siesta RV Resort, case DCI 2024-00025. The property is located in the Iona-McGregor Planning Community area. It's the former site of the Century 21 Mobile Home Park that received some substantial damage during Hurricane Ian. The property is approximately 50 acres, it's designated suburban on the county future land use map. The current zoning of the property is mobile home MH2, although there is some agricultural zoning near the entrance you can see on this map. The request is to rezone the subject property to the Recreational Vehicle Plan Development District to permit up to 404 RV sites together with private recreational amenities you can see centered in the site near the northern perimeter. The hearing examiner's recommendation for this case is approval with conditions, and there were 10 public participants of record. Staff and the applicant are present for any questions.
Any questions for staff?
The question is, currently this property is totally vacant then? It's not, nobody living on it now?
I believe it is completely vacant, with the exception of the amenities, which are still on the site, or the amenity buildings.
So it looks like there's been improvements here with the lakes as far as drainage.
That's
Those-
correct.
those
This
will
will
be
be
new, so-
modernized.
is actually more green space or water management than it was before from the original site?
That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Chair, just ask a quick question. Talk to me about the sewage disposal here with all the RVs. How's that going to be taken care of?
All the RV sites will be connected to central utilities, water, sewer, electric. There will be no on-site septic systems.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, great. Go to public participants. John Crawford? Del Givens? Patricia Givens? Kelly Hill? Martha Lowe? Christine Tomlin? Adam Seawall? Frank Skipovich? Stephanie Skipovich? Tanya Wardrock? Nope. Okay, we'll close public comment. Gentlemen, what's our pleasure?
I'll move approval,
I'll
Mr. Chairman, of
second
the hearing examiner's recommendation. Yep.
I'll second it. Motion is second. Any other discussion? Anyone opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you.
Good morning. Kate Burgess, Principal Planner with the Lee County Planning Section. This case is a privately initiated small-scale map amendment known as Horizon Tamiami, CPA. The applicant is requesting to incorporate 20.2 acres of the subject property into the mixed-use overlay. A companion rezone has been requested on the subject property as well. That's REZ 2024-00006. The comprehensive plan amendment only addresses the request to be incorporated into the mixed-use overlay. The proposed amendment does not change the future land use category or the allowable density or uses. The subject property is a mixture of intensive development and wetlands future land uses. This application request is to add only a portion of the property to the mixed-use overlay. That area is shown on the map on the slide, outlined in red. The full boundaries of the subject property are shown outlined in black. The proposed amendment would extend the mixed-use overlay, which currently stops at Brooks Road, to the uplands portion of the subject property along Tamiami Trail. It does not include the wetlands portion along the creek. Lee Plan Policy 1.1.2, which describes the intensive development future land use category, characterizes it as the most intense future land use category, promoting mixed use developments on suitable lands within this category. The proposed amendment to incorporate the subject property into the mixed-use overlay further facilitates mixed-use development on the subject property consistent with this policy. Lee Plan Policy 11.2.1 provides the requirements for the mixed-use overlay. The subject property is within the extended pedestrian shed of existing transit routes, contains pedestrian and automobile connections to adjacent uses, has an existing intensive development future land use category designation, access to public facilities and infrastructure, and will not intrude into predominantly single-family neighborhoods. Therefore, the portion of the subject property that the applicant is requesting to be incorporated into the mixed-use overlay meets all of the locational requirements of the mixed-use overlay. The proposed amendment is also consistent with Goal 30 and the intent to improve the livability and economic vitality of North Fort Myers by promoting compact mixed-use development, attracting appropriate investment to the commercial corridor, and preserving natural resources by excluding large portions of wetlands on the property from the request. Additionally, the applicant has held the required public input meetings for the comprehensive plan amendments within the community plan area under Goal 17. The subject property is within the coastal high hazard area. However, the request does not increase density, and any residential that is developed on the site will have to comply with this policy at the time of DO. The proposed amendment also does not conflict with any other policies, objectives, or goals within the Lee Plan. The local planning agency recommended adoption of the proposed amendment at the August 25th meeting. 4 members of the public spoke against the amendments at that meeting, citing concerns about traffic, flooding, environmental impacts, and building size. However, based on the analysis included in the staff report, in this presentation, staff, along with the LPA, recommends adoption. That concludes my presentation. The applicant is here if you would like to hear their presentation, and I am happy to answer questions at this time.
Questions, gentlemen?
Yeah, Chairman, one, just to kind of understand a little bit. So what is the significance of the future land use designation that it already has as intensive development? Like, you could even go back to that map if you wanted.
So, I guess, the existing future land use is intensive development. I believe that's the most intense future land use category that the county has. It's been in place for years now. And basically, this amendment is just to incorporate the uplands portion of the property, the non-wetlands portion of the property into the mixed-use overlay, which allows them to rezone to a conventional zoning district, and it has some different development standards.
And the green says it's wetlands, and it looks like that's going to stay designated as wetlands?
That's correct.
So they're not going to be able to build in there?
Correct.
Okay. That's good to know. So even though it's trees right now, it's been on the future land use map designated as an intensive development for years?
Correct.
Okay, all right, thank you.
And the western portion of the property, all lines US 41. It's been there like 90 years.
Yes.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Okay. I have 4 cards. First card is Mark Sutton. Come on up. Mark, you have 3 minutes to speak. We have a green light, a yellow light, and a red light. When it goes to yellow, you have a minute left. When it hits red, I unfortunately have to cut you off.
I'm looking, oh, here?
There you
Okay, thank you. Anyway, my name is Mark Sutton. We've lived back here on the river in this area for 45 years. And I don't know where to start, you know, it just, what seemed was a residential district is going to have this big unsightly 5-story, 450, adding all this traffic. And my mother almost died right on that corner. And the way they have it designed, the only way that you can head south is you can't. You got to go down to the next road down, and it's a long light, and it's just dangerous. I've seen people where you know right turn now they're cutting, making that quick left. It's a dangerous corner because people come barreling out of there from the light after waiting so long, and they're trying to get home at night, and it's danger. And not to also, you know, yeah, it's not right in the thing, but that's Powell Creek. You know all about that. Your history goes back. I mean, if anybody went there and spent 5 minutes looking around, you'd say, no, this is like a sore thumb in an old residential retirement community with one way in and one way out. And it's just, to me, it's wrong on so many levels. But I know everybody's pro growth and we need this, but I don't see it with all the available building permits that are already out there in the tens of thousands. I mean, it's just, to put this, I mean, even in North Fort Myers, some of the other communities are having to carry a heavy load, the debt load, just because they can't rent the places. We've got rentals, we've got houses for sale. I mean, I just don't see the need. I mean, they say it's for nurses and firemen and all the teachers, whatnot, but not people, no, I just don't see it. I mean, gosh, I even have more time. So yeah, it's inappropriate to change a residentially zoned area, butt up so dang close. I mean, we've got environmental issues, runoff. I mean, granted, Powell Creek's getting choked out now, but this is just going to do even more damage, in my opinion. And I don't know I mean, some people say it's a waste of time. It's already cooked in the books that this is going to happen. you know, but I just wanted to come and give my say about how I feel about this particular project. With all the spots that are available in North Fort Myers, I don't think this is the one.
Thanks, Mark. Appreciate your comments. Mark Cumray?
Good morning, board members. My name is Mark Comray. I'm appearing here as a resident in Port Edison subdivision. In fact, Mr. Sutton and his family are been my neighbors for some 30 years. So it's with that capacity I come before you. I do have two little brief handouts if there's no objection. It's just a copy of the map and some orientation just for
Oh,
context.
we actually have those copies
Okay.
in our record.
You may already have them. For the record, I live at 315 Harris Court, which is at the very end of the Port Edison subdivision. I think it's important to note that Port Edison subdivision is one of the oldest subdivisions in Lee County. It appears at Plat Book 1, I think pages 18 and 19, if memory serves me correctly. And there's approximately 140 or so homes platted, single-family residents within that area. And then there's the outlying residential area, which is not incorporated in the plat, but is obviously committed to RS1 zoning, which is on the maps, which I've identified, and I don't know if I can hand them to you, but just so you can see, I put in green highlighting Port Edison. I put in yellow highlighting the adjacent residential area. Together, those two are about 200 or so existing single-family, long-time residents. The red area is, as noted, it's the applicant's property being subject to the request for comp plan. And then the blue area represents the travel path that currently and only exists for those 200 or so family homes that lie within Port Edison subdivision and the outlying single-family homes. Why do I mention that? Well, I alluded to it, but I want to underscore, the only way in and out for these 200 family homes is by Brooks Road, over the Brooks Road Creek Bridge. Now, the proposed comp plan amendment seeks to change what I would generally suggest is maybe about a 90 unit density to about a 455 unit density, and makes absolutely no accommodation for the additional traffic load that's going to inescapably be dumped upon Brooks Road. I note that that's a worthy consideration because none other than the Florida DOT required the applicant to carve out additional property and install a turning lane on what is now the existing 6-lane or 3-lane travel pattern because it didn't feel comfortable with allowing traffic to back up off of that 3-lane turn in or out of onto 41. I would suggest that that consideration in and of itself warrants some further evaluation as to the Brooks Road impacts. Now, as Mr. Sutton noted, and I agree, nobody's anti-growth. We all responsible growth. Oh, did I run out? Oh, Jesus. Man, let me just say, I'm here today asking this august board simply to defer the decision for a moment. We have 200 people that never got notice of the hearing examiner proceedings or any of the underlying records. We're not opposing development. We're trying to exercise our rights for due process. And the balance of equity, the additional duration of time will be minuscule and compare it to the irrevocable harm we're going to suffer if it's approved today as requested. Thank you for the board's time.
Comment. Kenneth Swanta?
I'm Kenneth Swartz. I live back real close to Mark Conroy. Back in that same development. I am very opposed to this. I feel as if this affordable housing that you're putting in here, 400 units in such a small space, will eventually become, affordable housing is another word for a project. It's project. And they, after about 20 years or so, you need to tear that projects down because they become places of crime and slums and not taken care of. And putting 400 houses, 400 dwelling places on such a small area that you, as has already been pointed out to you, does not have the traffic situation that can handle that much. It's going to be a mess. I had to wait at the light for two cycles to come out from Cardinal Lane onto the Tay Miami Trail yesterday. Put 400 buildings in there, 400 dwelling places, to come out on that same light is going to back traffic up past Brooks Road. It's going to be a real nightmare. I'm concerned about the crime that's going to happen to this neighborhood. It's a residential area back there. It is a bunch of old retirees, and it's peaceful now. But what you're putting in there is going to change all that. I guess that's it. Think about what you're doing there. You're making North Fort Myers the slums of Fort Myers, whereas the lower class, lower life people can live there. So we become the slums of Fort Myers. And we don't have the traffic, we don't have the ability to handle it. Thank you.
Ronald Norton?
Hello, my name is Ron Norton. I live back in there at 348 East North Shore Drive, which is over by the river, in and out of Brooks Road every day. The current situation there is that that community is a mixed community of single-family homes. You have retirees that live back there, and you have working-class people that live back there that go in and out of there in the morning at 7:30 to 8 o'clock, and they're driving out of Brooks Road, and they're going out to 41 to a stop sign. There's not a stoplight there. There's a stop sign there. And when you get to that stop sign, you have one option. You can go north on 41. You cannot go south on 41. 41 is a state road, and it's just been revamped, and they're still in the process of making that road a little bit nicer, but they're not accommodating anybody on Brooks Road going south toward Fort Myers. You can go north toward Punta Gorda, you can go up that way, but then you have to go up to the light at Bay Shore to do a U-turn if you want to go south on 41. So the only option you have if you're coming out of Brooks Road in the morning at 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning is to turn and go down to Cardinal to go to a traffic light that's down off of Brooks Road, but it's a single two-lane road with no shoulder. And then when you get down to Cardinal, Cardinal is only 150 yards long. So what you're going to do is you're going to back up traffic to that light, and then you have to wait for an arrow to turn across the traffic lane to go south to Fort Myers. So here's the problem. If you put 400 units in there at 8 o'clock in the morning, now those are working class apartments. So those are going to be firemen, teachers, police officers, whoever, contractors. They're all going to be getting in their rig at 8 o'clock in the morning, and they're all going to be wanting to get out on 41. Well, 8 o'clock in the morning on 41 right now, currently, today, was wall-to-wall traffic all the way going into Fort Myers and going north on the opposite direction. So you already have a jammed up traffic situation at 8 o'clock in the morning. And then you're going to put 400 more units in there. Now, I think the people that own that property have a right to develop it. They have a right to come in front of you folks and say, we have a right to develop that property. And they do. But let's take a look at some alternatives that they could do. Instead of putting 5 big apartment buildings in there, 5-story apartment buildings with 450 units in it, why don't they do something a little more sensible, like single-family units in there, or townhouses in there, or some kind of a smaller condo complex in there, that would still let them develop the property, but instead of putting the kind of density that they're currently looking to put in there. See,
Your time's up, sir. Thank you.
thank you.
Any other members from the public would like to speak? Haven't submitted a card? I just had one. I didn't know it was for both, but feel free.
I didn't submit a card.
Okay, I didn't know that. Thank you.
I'm gonna speak anyways. I've heard a lot of people speak about how it's surrounded by single-family residents and all that.
Go ahead and hit the timer, guys.
I'm gonna be quick. Surrounded by single-family residents, I think it's a needed to put the apartments there. I support it. Due to the need of a diversification of housing options. You know, not everyone can afford a home. Not everyone can live in a house, single-family residence. You know, people need apartments and things like that too, so.
Thank you. Come on up, sir.
I guess the first thing I'd like to say is,
Just
I
state your name
understand.
for the record, if you wouldn't mind.
My name's Michael O'Neill. I
Thank
live
you.
on Glenmont to the east of the proposed development. I understand the LEAP plan is subject to amendment every 2 years. And I think that areas like this should not be considered for what you would call maximum density or intensive development, since it is adjacent to very sensitive wetlands. Just because you don't build on top of them doesn't mean they won't be affected. I don't think anyone has really addressed the increased risk of flooding that's going to come with this as well. When you pave over most of a 20-acre parcel, I know they proposed putting storage vaults underground to handle runoff, but I just don't see how that's going to, with the kind of flooding we've seen with 3 storms in less than 3 years, how that's going to mitigate that issue. There's also, within that 100-plus page application, an environmental impact study that seems to be fabricated. They found no species of concern somehow in that entire parcel, including the American alligator, which, I mean, tell me any place in Florida where you have a natural waterway where you don't find alligators. I see them all the time.
It's always alligators.
Okay. So the other thing is, it's really ironic if you look more closely at the very policies and objectives that are cited in the application and Goal 30 of the North Fort Myers Community Plan. From the resident standpoint, this development is directly contrary to those objectives, especially preserving natural resources. I know, Mr. Hammond, I saw in your Meet the Commissioner video that that's a concern of yours, protecting our waterways. Pollution is a major concern with this development. When you have 450 plus units, 1,200 some cars, whatever ends up there, anything that happens during a major flooding event is going to wash a lot of automotive debris, runoff, trash, what have you. There's plenty of that already that comes from 41, from that FDOT access. There's a lot more I can say about this, but 3 minutes is kind of limiting. But that was mainly it. It's going to dramatically change the character and integrity of the residential neighborhood to the east and north of that parcel. So I suppose that's all. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for your comments. Any other members of the public would like to speak? Feel free to come on up. Just state your name for the record, that'd be great. Appreciate it.
Good morning. My name is Andrew Vatter. I live on Sunrise Drive in Port Edison, so these are my neighbors here behind me. 2 things I'd like to bring to your attention and also ask, I'd like for you guys to take a step back, look at the environmental stuff that this is going to be impacted. The runoff, like that gentleman before me just said, there's a lot of paving going on, so there's a lot of water that's going to be entering into Powell Creek and seriously disturbing that whole little ecosystem there that we live in. I believe that you guys will go through the proper environmental procedures and take a good look at that, but take a step back. And also on the traffic. That's going to be a big issue, like the other gentleman said, and Mr. Norton as well. There's going to be a big problem for us in our little neighborhood Brooks Road is gonna be totally jammed up when those guys are coming in with trucks and construction. And I would like to suggest is there's any way you could keep all the construction, entrance and exiting on 41, we would really appreciate that and not have them having to come around and go to the light or on Cardinal. I don't know if you can do that, but that's gonna seriously affect us. The other thing I'd like to point out is being a good neighbor, if you guys go forward with this and build this seriously dense apartment complex, maybe you could limit that, yes, according to the other things that have been said concerning that, but I'd like to say maybe you guys could ask the builder to, if it's not already in the plans, to build a sidewalk along Brooks Road. We have several people that are in wheelchairs that are constantly going up and down Brooks Road to get to where they need to go to the bus stop. There's no place for kids to walk out to 41. I'd like to see a sidewalk, if you're gonna build this whole thing, on both sides of Brooks Road, if you would. And maybe, if I could ask, it would be nice if they would take the sidewalk all the way down to Evelina into my neighborhood, which is across Brooks Bridge, the little bridge that goes over Powell Creek, because we have no way for people to walk along the road there to get out to 41. So that's all I have. Again, a step back to look at the environmental impacts, and this traffic issue that we're going to have would be greatly appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other members of the public who would like to speak? Seeing none, I'll close public comment. Does the applicant want to come up and address some of the concerns?
Good morning. Thank you, Commissioners. For the record, Megan Strayhorn with Strayhorn and Persons Mullica. We do have our full team here present today, so in a moment I will turn it over to Veronica Martin from TDM Consulting, who is the planner on the project. But I briefly want to address some of the concerns that came out during the public comment period. It is my understanding that currently the intersection of Brooks Road and 41, FDOT has already started to remove the ability to make a left turn lane, which has no impact or is not a result of this development, of this proposed development. There's also, regarding the single-family residential abutting to the east, there is an alternative route to exit besides Brooks Road to the north. It's my understanding that for some reason that access is currently blocked off. I'm not sure why, but I believe the residents are aware and are looking into it. As you can see on the site, the wetlands are located on the east portion of the property. These will be preserved and protected, therefore creating a nice buffer between the multifamily that will be coming in and the single-family residential. This is one of the last large vacant parcels in North Fort Myers in the intensive development future land use designation. It is qualified as an urban infill development. As has already been described and indicated, this is already designated intensive development. It is already included in the most highest intensive future land use designation that exists in the plan. The extension of the mixed use overlay, which is what the request before you today, has no impact on the density allowable in that site. And at this point, I will turn it over to Veronica Martin as a planner if she has any further comments that she wants to make.
Good morning, Commissioners. I'm Veronica Martin with TDM Consulting, representing the applicant today. I do have a PowerPoint presentation that has a couple of different slides than the one that staff has. If you just give me a moment to bring it up. Thank you, Madam. Thank you. So while I'm getting the slides prepared, I do want to just say that we did have 2 public information meetings. The meetings were advertised in the news press. One was for this comprehensive plan amendment application and the rezoning application. The most recent one was actually for the development order application. So the public did get to see the full landscaping plans, the environmental plans, site construction plans and the building elevations. So we're pretty far along with the plans for this development. The request today is to add this property to the mixed-use overlay. So the picture on the left is the current mixed-use overlay that you see in the light purple. The slide to the right is our property added to the mixed-use overlay. So you can see that the properties to the south do abut this property, and they are in the mixed-use overlay. The other slide that I wanted to show you is the zoning slide. So you can see that this property already has a mix of zoning districts. Everything in red is commercial zoning, everything in yellow is residential zoning. So we're asking to add 20.2 acres of uplands to the mixed-use overlay to allow for development of this site. We are preserving the 7.2 acres of wetlands in their entirety. We do have the environmental consultant here who did provide the report for us regarding the environmental concerns, if you have any questions for her. And I can answer any questions you may have for me.
Love to hear from the environmental consultant.
Okay.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Ariel Poulos. I am with Terrell Hall & Associates. My team did the environmental assessment for both the uplands and the wetlands present on the property. The wetlands are of questionable quality, and the project actually proposes to enhance the wetlands. Exotic species will be removed, and there will be plantings to enhance those wetlands as well. There will be no impact to the creek. There are no listed species using the uplands or the wetlands for denning, excuse me, or for foraging. We spent about 20 hours worth of environmental observation time out there. I'm not sure if you have any questions for me, but.
Yeah. So thank you so much for coming up,
Yeah.
because this is, obviously, I think some really reasonable, wonderful questions were asked. I mean, we all care about the environment. That's one of the big reasons why a lot of us live here, and probably even one of the reasons why you went into the field that you're in. So one of the questions I had is, as I was listening to everybody speak today, how do you protect the wetlands from pollution, from runoff, from the development that's going to be built?
So the wetlands will be placed under conservation easement with the water management district, and the water management district rules require that there is a 25-foot buffer of uplands before the wetlands. So that area will also be put under conservation easement. So you have a little bit of a buffer between any development before you actually get to the wetlands, and that area is meant for protection of the actual wetland communities.
And then did they also do, I guess, on-site engineering to have the water drain to a different area away from the wetlands?
Yes, yeah. So all, again, based on the water management district rules, all water will be held and treated on site. So that would be something more for the engineer to talk about, but the water is never designed to drain into the wetlands. It's all to be contained and treated on site before discharge.
Okay. And then I was going to ask, also, you mentioned that they were questionable wetlands. Can you give me kind of a plain English? What does that mean?
Yeah, sure. There's a lot of exotic species present. So exotic species are not endemic to the area. So those are things that are moving in and choking out our natural wetland communities. So a project like this is required by state law to remove exotics and to enhance. So essentially on a scale of 1 to 10, this is not functioning as a 10. It's functioning around a 5. So the project actually will come in and remove exotic species and restore the functionality from a 5 up to a 7 or an 8. So the idea is to enhance this wetland and make it more functional than it is presently.
Okay. Thanks, Mr.
So
Chairman.
I have a question. So you said the question, I'm glad Commissioner Hammond asked this question. probably because the last 80 years, there was no management of this property, and all that nitrogen, oil, and everything that ran off, the runoff from US 41, Tamiami Trail, ran off into these wetlands, correct?
Correct.
Pretty much. So now the property will be managed, water will be managed, and that will preserve the wetlands and enhance the wetlands, correct?
And
That's
that
what
will
we currently
be,
do now throughout the county, and you see that now, of course, in other areas. Once it's been enhanced, 10, 20 years later, it's actually more pristine wetlands.
correct. And
Because right now, there's no, look like there's from the original North Tamiami Trail State Road there, there's no water management. All the water runs off and all the trash runs off to the east to the wetlands, correct?
correct, yes.
Okay, thank you.
And I just appreciate both of my commissioners' questions. I had some of the same. Can you just address the concern someone brought up about flooding?
So again, I'm not a stormwater engineer, but there's a difference between stormwater and an actual storm surge. So I think that a lot of the concerns that come, especially post-Ian, post-Milton, post-Helene, are really storm surge concerns. Stormwater, as I already said, and as the engineer could probably speak a little bit better too, stormwater is treated and held on site before discharge. There will be no impact to Powell Creek based on stormwater. Filling the uplands, which are already upland, is not going to create like a bathtub effect where any water on that site is going to flood out into the surrounding neighborhood. It's also not going to, when you have flood water from a storm surge, it comes in as a sheet, and it comes in at a certain height, and it doesn't matter what height our property is. It's all affect the surrounding area the same. So there's like a little bit of a difference between storm water and storm surge. And I think that's an important distinction with some of the concerns that we've heard today.
So it's your conclusion, obviously, with the enhancement of the wetlands, obviously, Commissioner Pendergrass indicated that we weren't really addressing the runoff issues, the nitrogen phosphate. All these things should improve.
Yes.
What is going on here, because right now they're not being addressed.
Correct.
Okay. You addressed, those are my questions.
Okay.
I appreciate you addressing the flooding environmental runoff issues and appreciate everyone's comments.
Okay.
Chairman, if I may, I had a couple questions for the planner.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
By all means.
Yes, sir.
Hi, how's it going? So one of the things that was said in public comment that I wanted to verify, I heard from our staff that the density is not affected by putting this in the mixed use overlay. So it's already intense development, but we're going to just put it in the mixed use overlay. But the density is not going to be changed by that. So what does that mean? Explain that kind of in plain English.
So the intensive development future land use category has a standard maximum density of 14 dwelling units per acre. The applicant does have the option to request bonus density. We're not doing that. This is a workforce housing project meant to be housing for our first responders, nurses, firemen, police officers, including teachers, our construction personnel, things like that. It's not Section 8 housing or anything in that realm. We're not planning on increasing the density, but we are planning on taking the maximum density of 14 dwelling units per acre, which is permitted by right. Putting this project in the mixed use overlay allows us to have a couple different land development requirements, including buffers and parking and open space. Because we are preserving the entire wetlands, we're actually exceeding the open space. We have 27.36 acres of site. The wetlands itself is 7.2 acres. So, plus we'll have the 25-foot upland buffer to the wetlands, plus the buffers along Brooks Road, North Tamiami, and the site to the north. You can probably also see that there's 2 cutouts that are being currently used for detention. Those are owned by FDOT, so we're not impacting those. And again, we're going through a conventional rezoning project application.
Okay. Could you also, since you're a planner, do you have any comments on the traffic situation and the traffic flow that was
Yes.
talked about?
Yes, as a matter of fact, I do. So as Megan Strayhorn had said, FDOT had already made the decision to change the full median cut on North Tamiami. Right now, it's a full median cut from Brooks Road, so you can go north or south on North Tamiami. This was decided by FDOT prior to this project even coming before them. So right now, they're going to close the southbound access to North Tamiami. So when you come out of Brooks Road, you can only go north. We all have submitted an application to FDOT. We will be providing a turn lane on North Tamiami to turn into our project, so the residents do not have to access Brooks Road. They can access directly from North Tamiami Trail. During the PIM, we also discovered that one of the roads, and I don't know if I have an aerial that includes that roadway, one of the roads in the development, and I probably don't, east of that light industrial section, it has those big concrete barriers that closes off the local road that can come back out onto North Tamiami Trail further north, which is another access point for the residents. So I did contact Lee County DOT. I spoke with PAC at DOT, and he is working with the residents to open that road back up so they do have an alternative access point.
Yeah, did they have any, I guess, information on why it was closed in the first
He
place?
wasn't sure. I guess there had been complaints from the residents with speeders, and instead of doing maybe a rumble strip or some kind of other mechanism to slow traffic down, they just blocked the road with those concrete barriers.
One of the things the Florida Department of Transportation talks to us about a lot at their MPO meetings is that they believe that the idea of making a right turn and then making a U-turn is safer according to their traffic statistics that they've compiled now for all their safety studies they've done. Is that what it appears that they're going to try to do with Brooks Road? They're hoping that if you're going to go out and go south, you would turn right, you would head north, make a U-turn, and then head south?
Yes, sir.
And so there's a close U-turn cut through at some point then in their median? I don't know. I don't have that plan
To
memorized.
be honest, I don't know exactly where the nearest U-turn on North Tamiami Trail is to go back south. I don't remember. I apologize for that.
Okay. All right, I think we hit on the flooding, we hit on the pollution, we hit on the traffic. I think that answers the questions that I had heard come up. I thought a lot of really reasonable questions were asked, and
Yeah. During our second PIM, we were there for 2 hours answering questions from the public. So we thought we had addressed most everything.
If I could ask a question, just to clarify, so would there be entrances on Brooks Road?
Yes, there is a.
The main entrance would be on US 41?
Correct, sir.
Okay. I'm just asking, as you probably know, and this is for the speakers here today, thank you for coming here today and speaking. I just want to let you a little background. As of 2011, the state of Florida preempted the counties and cities when it comes to zoning, denying any project like this for traffic. So we hear your concerns, we drive the roads every day, we hear your concerns, but we cannot deny a project because of traffic. But we can ask questions like Commissioner Hammond just did and we're doing today to make sure it's compatible with your community and making sure it's accessible. We want everybody to have safe access, but we cannot deny access. And when you look at good planning, I think most of you have been here, so it's great to have residents here who've been in the community for 30, 45 years. We usually hear people that moved here yesterday. So it's nice to have you guys here. Like most of us here, we were born and raised here. So we've seen the changes, but unfortunately, good planning would have been 50 years ago. This has been developed 50 years ago along the US 41 road. That's how good planning works. You build the infrastructure, and people build out closer to that instead of having urban sprawl. So in the good world of planning, this little pocket here, which had been built 30, 40, 50 years ago, and that we would be having this discussion today, but unfortunately it was never developed and we're here today, but we'll make sure we do it right though. So thank you.
Thank you.
Good questions. We not allowed to have another participant, sorry.
There's been some new information that's been, I've heard 3 or 4 times now about removing our barrier, and if I want a clarification on that barrier in my neighborhood.
Deal with that here.
Because that's different. That changes a lot of other things. That barrier's been put in place to keep people from cutting through, and that's put in there only for emergencies when it's removed. That should not be taken away.
So,
And that only goes north, so that, removing that would be a bigger headache for our neighborhood, and it's there for a reason.
I think those comments
Their
are noted.
information is not
Nobody's
there.
proposing that today, so I think that's noted.
so if we, I'm speaking as part of this hearing here today. So my comments earlier about the state not allowing us to make changes because of traffic. A lot of the things we're talking about here today will be done through development stages. We, the Board of County Commissioners, do not direct FDOT or the development stages part of this project. So we're not able to make that observation and determination today here at the board. And a lot of requests were asked today to tell the builder to build this, don't let lower income people live there. We don't set market values, we don't set rent, we don't set barriers. So that's all done at staff level through DOT and FDOT. So we don't have that involvement in this process. We're just looking at the land use changes here. So everybody understands the process. We don't have the ability to do that. So again, I have no other questions.
I just wanted to add that we're not proposing to remove the barricades. We just noted that they were there. That's all.
Unfortunately, our process is one that we listen to the information before us. We look if there's substantial reasons not to move forward with this application. All the issues that have been addressed. So it's really something we just can't do because we don't like the project. We have to have substantial reasons why we wouldn't want to go forward with this project. So that's basically it. And we do speak once, and, you know, I certainly gave some flexibility, but we don't do a second round, and it's just the way we rule here, and that's the way we govern, just trying to go over the rules. I think, you know, we've hit all the issues, environmental, traffic, I mean, everything that we possibly can address for substantial reasons, and traffic, as Commissioner Pendergrass said, something I can't even opine on. I'm not allowed to. Legislators took that away from us. So I can't deny something for traffic purposes, and I live in it every day like you do. It's just not within our jurisdiction, unfortunately.
And I guess, Mr. Chairman, I'll go ahead then and sum it up. I think sometimes you have to boil it down to what is the question that is truly before us today. The question that is truly before us today is, do you want to allow this land that's already designated intensive development to be added to the mixed-use overlay, which would allow them to do a better development? That would, it doesn't add, we've had now testimony by our staff and the planner that it doesn't add any more density than is already allowed, than they're already currently allowed to build under their existing future land use designation. So we're not increasing any density. We're putting it in the mixed-use overlay so that they can have the design flexibility that they need to do something that's more compatible with the community. And so if that's the question before us today, is the Lee Plan amendment to add the 20.2 acres to the mixed-use overlay, then, Mr. Chairman, I'll go ahead and make the motion for approval based on the staff recommendation.
Second.
I have a second. Any other discussion? Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Next item is number 5.
Good morning. Lindsay
morning.
Chesky with the Planning Section. The final case before you today is in reference to the Hunch 41 Small Scale Comprehensive Plan Map Amendment, case CPA 2025-00001. The request is to amend map 1A, the future land use map, to redesignate a 19.36 acre property to central urban from the suburban future land use category. This amendment would support a mixture of light industrial and commercial uses near a major intersection that's within a developing area of North Fort Myers. The applicant has also submitted a companion rezone application to rezone the property from industrial and general commercial to mixed-use plan development. On the left is the existing future land use map, and on the right is the proposed future land use map. As depicted in the aerial image, the subject property resides along the west side of North Tamiami Trail, approximately 1/4 of a mile south of Del Prado Boulevard. The subject property is in the North Fort Myers Community Plan area and is currently undeveloped. Policy 1.1.3 states that the central urban future land use category is designated in areas that have or will have the greatest range and highest levels of public services, and that future development in this category is encouraged to be mixed use. Due to the nature of the property and the property's current underlying zoning districts, the proposed future land use map amendment is more consistent with the intent of the central urban future land use than the existing suburban future land use. The subject property has adequate public facilities and services readily available on site, consistent with Objective 2.2. Goal 30 describes the North Fort Myers Community Plan area, which aims to improve the livability and economic vitality of North Fort Myers by promoting compact, mixed-use development and attracting appropriate investment to revitalize commercial corridors. The subject property lies within a commercial corridor overlay, and the proposed amendment would encourage compact mixed-use development, which would support and contribute to the revitalization of the existing commercial corridor in alignment with Goal 30. And the applicant has provided all letters of availability with no objections from the applicable services. Based off this analysis and the staff report, staff and the LPA are recommending approval of the proposed amendment as shown in attachment 1. No members of the public were present at the LPA hearing, and staff are available for questions, or the applicant is here to provide a presentation if needed.
Thank you. Any questions? Any public comment? Seeing none, I'll close public comment.
Move it.
I have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Anyone opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. We're adjourned.